Okay, so 3.1.1 day 3 power of a power property. So we're doing more exponent stuff. We're just adding another rule in. So looking at the first one, when exponents are on the outside. So what if we take something that we have inside and then we square it? So what that really means is to take 3x squared and multiply it by itself, because it's squared on the outside says to do 2 of them. So then once we write that out, that's going to look like what we've already done before. So you would do 3 times 3 is 9, and then 2 plus 2 is 4, so x to the 4th. The reason why we put to the 4th is because when you're multiplying those with the exponents, you would add the actual numbers. So another way to look at this is you can think about squaring each part separately. So number 2, I'm going to show you another way to look at it, but still do get this final answer correct. So you would take the 4 and you square it, and then you take the y cubed and you square it. This is still doing, let me make this a little smaller, sorry. This is still doing what we did in number 1, it's just breaking it apart differently. So 3 times 3 is 3 squared. X squared times x squared is x squared squared. So we are doing those things. So 4 squared is 16, because 4 times 4 is 16. And then y cubed squared is like doing y cubed cubed. So that would be y to the 6th. So if we're thinking about just looking at this part right here, when you have a power to a power, so that's going up, what happens is you multiply it. So 3 times 2. When the powers are on the same level next to each other, you add it. Either way, if I look at it this way or this way, I'm still getting the same result of 6. I'm just doing it in 2 different ways. The first one I was doing 3 plus 3 to get 6. This one was 3 times 2. So we'll continue to practice this on the next one. I'm going to do this third one just like I was doing number 2. So I'm going to cube this and cube that. So negative 5 cubed and x to the 4th cubed. So negative 5 cubed. Make sure when you're putting this in your calculator that you put negative 5 in parentheses. And then cubed is going to be negative 125. And then I'm going to take these 2 numbers and multiply them to give me 12. So x to the 12th. All right, and then the next one I'm going to give this to 3 different pieces here. 2 to the 4th. X to the 3rd to the 4th, and then y to the 4th. So 2 to the 4th power is 16. X to the 3rd to the 4th is 3 times 4, so x to the 12th. And then y to the 4th because there was nothing there before. All right. Give you a second on that. Sorry, I know last time I made a video for you guys. I heard it was too fast, so I should slow down. So if you need some time to catch up there, go ahead and take it. So with 5, 6, 7, 8, it's the same process. You're breaking it down the same way, but 5 I'm going to treat like one where I actually write it all out. So x cubed over y squared times x cubed over y squared. So I would multiply the tops and the bottoms just like you would for multiplying any fractions, whether it's numbers or not. So tops would be multiplying these, so I get x, and then 3 plus 3, I multiply those x cubed, but they would be adding those, so x to the 6th, and then the bottoms would be y to the 4th. So 6, 7, and 8 I'm going to treat the same way I did 2, 3, and 4, to where I'm not actually writing all this stuff out because I don't want to do it 4 times. So instead I'm going to cube that, or sorry, put that to the 4th root and put that to the 4th root. So 3 to the 4th over a to the 4th to the 4th. That a is not great, sorry. So you do 3 to the 4th first. You get 81. And then a power to a power would be a multiplication. So 4 times 4 is 16. And then you're done on that one. So take a second to wrap that one up. So number 7, we're just taking that to the 3rd power and giving it to the top and the bottom, the numerator and denominator. So z to the 4th and then to the 3rd over 5 to the 3rd. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 3. So that's z to the 12. And then 5 to the 3rd power is 125. Number 8, we're going to square the top and the bottom. So be careful here, we're squaring the 9. Let me take this over here. We're squaring the 9 and the n to the 7th. So we're squaring that too. So make sure you're giving that squared to both. So 4 times 2 is 8, so m to the 8. Over 9 squared is 81, and then 7 times 2 is 14. So just make sure every little piece of that question got squared. That's why we had to separate the 9 and the n to the 7th. The 9 got squared and the n to the 7th got squared. Okay, with number 9, it says negative exponents on the outside. You're treating them just like you were doing before, where you're flipping. So 1 over 3x to the 4th, and then now it's to the positive 1. This means it just stays the same, so I'm just going to write 1 over 3x to the 4th. There was no things to change, because when I do 3 to the 1st power, it's just 3, and then 4. And then 4 times 1 is just 4. So then the next one is squared when you flip it. So 1 over x cubed and then squared. And then I would multiply 3 times 2. So 1 over x to the 6th. Okay, then the next one, we're going to flip it. So 1 over 2x to the 4th. So I got to give that to both of these. So 1 over 2 to the 4th and then x to the 4th. So x to the 4th is already dealt with, so we just need to do 2 to the 4th, which is 16. So 1 over 16x to the 4th. All right, and then the next one, it looks like a lot, but not bad. So first we're going to take care of that negative. So 1 over 5x squared y to the 6th, and then cube it, and then that's going to be given to 1, 2, 3 things. So I'm going to do 5 cubed x squared, then cubed, and then y to the 6th cubed. So 5 cubed is 125, so 1 over 125, and then x squared cubed would be 2 times 3 is 6, so x to the 6, and then y to the 6 cubed would be 6 times 3, which is 18. So y to the 18. All right, we have one more rule and then some practice. So the last rule to discuss is when you have fractions that are raised to the negative exponent. So that's like questions 13 through 16. What you're going to do is flip the fraction first and then write it out. So flip. So what I mean by that is here, since the whole fraction is to that negative exponent, we're switching everything. So y cubed over x, and now that's to the first power. Anything to the first power is just itself, so y cubed over x is the answer. Then the next one's a little more complicated. We're going to switch these, so x to the fourth over 3, and then square that to make it positive because we flipped it. And then you're doing squared for both, so x to the fourth squared, and then 3 squared. So that's 4 times 2 is 8, so x to the 8, and then 3 squared is 9. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Negative second would be switch, and then we're squaring it. So giving that to both of those, 4 squared over a to the 5th squared. So 4 squared is 16, and then a to the 5th squared would be 5 times 2, so a to the 10th. Again, when you're going a power to a power, you multiply. When you're doing powers that are next to each other that are being multiplied, you would add them. So just remember that difference. So this one is a little more complicated. We're switching, making it positive, and then we've got to give this to a lot of stuff, so we just want to make sure we don't miss anything. So c cubed cubed, 2 cubed, a cubed, and then b squared cubed. So we got up to 1, 2, 3, 4 items. So now we actually just have to cube everything that has to get cubed. So 3 times 3 is 9. And then 2 cubed is 8. And then a cubed. And then b squared cubed is 2 times 3 is 6. So on the back are practice questions. I'm going to write all the answers on here, and so the substitute teacher can pause this and you guys can check your answers as you're practicing these. And then you all have homework to do after this.